So I think we've been some other shows we've touched on this topic a little bit, but it'd be good tonight to really hone in as we think about media, mostly vinyl, but an openness, because I have a hunch some of your props that you have brought might not all be vinyl. So to have an openness to perhaps cassette, um, vinyl, CDs, smoke signals, laser discs, whatever. But mostly vinyl. Uh, kind of different and unique um, deliveries and instances that have been out there, and there have been a lot over the years. It's a YouTube short that we'll include a link to in the description that the gentleman covers a couple of pretty interesting ones, several which I was not aware of. Um, and so I thought we'll share that. You can check out what he's got to say. But then I thought Mike and I might bring up a couple of things we have either come across or were aware of that are kind of unique instances of the recorded audio medium. Uh, I can start, and I believe, first couple I'm going to mention are ones I have mentioned before. Monty Python's Matching Tie and Handkerchief was depicted as a three-sided album, and a lot of people were confused by that. In future releases, they sometimes change that so it wasn't, but you can still get a lot of versions out there on vinyl where they did concentric. It was concentrically cut, so that depending on where your stylus came down on side two, you would get 15 to 20 minutes of content. But if you then caught the other one and the other concentric one, you'd get a new 15 or 20 minutes. So indeed, you did have three sides on a two-sided LP. So I always thought Matching Tie and Handkerchief was a good example of some creative usage of the media. Uh, why don't you go? I don't know if we're going to get a prop to begin with.
Yeah, yeah, I got plenty of props. So I'll start with one that they mentioned. So first off, one I do have, but I don't have handy. It's somewhere. Is they mentioned the McDonald's flexi disc. I do have that. It was flexi discs that McDonald's gave away that you had to go home and play to see if you won a prize on the flexi disc. There was millions of them. So I mean, there's tons of them out there. It's only rare in the sense that it was a flexi disc, so they didn't hold up very well. Flexi discs were just glossy, paper, plastic stock with a record pressed into it. Didn't sound very good. They also mentioned Lazaretto, the Jack White album. I have that here. I'm not a huge Jack White fan. That's not an insult to Jack White. Jack White's fine. It's just not my type of music typically. This is a famous, famous, famous vinyl though. He owns his own pressing plant, so he does all kinds of weird releases. Like he was one of the first ones to do liquid filled records and things like that. This is the one a lot of people consider to be the ultimate vinyl record. He basically did everything anybody's ever done on a vinyl except for the liquid and put it all in one record. So just like the Monty Python record, there is hidden tracks in here on concentrically cut grooves. This has tracks that play at three different speeds. So 33, 45, and 78, all on the same record. There is a hologram that's cut into it. So if you shine a light on it when the record is spinning, it creates a hologram from the cuts in the record. He wasn't the first one to do that. There's a few other records that do it, but this has that in addition to everything else. There's also hidden tracks on the label on the record itself. So similar to a flexi disc, there's grooves that are pressed onto the sticker label on here. They do not sound good because you're playing it on paper, but it's technically in there. So it's basically everything anybody's ever done except for Liquid all on the same record.
Yeah, and then the Saltines one or whatever of his is the one of the was held out as example of, or I've seen as a liquid record where basically the interior of the record has liquid in it, a la
Yes.
lava lamp-ish, so that
Mm.
as the record spins, you get a lot of action, which is super creative and very kind of cool
Yeah,
idea.
Universal just did one for Jaws 50th anniversary. There's a bunch of different vinyl editions of the Jaws soundtrack throughout now. Some of them are pretty cool. One of the more expensive ones though is liquid fill. There's a blue liquid to create a wave like look to it when you're playing the record. I think it's $100 for that,
There's the pieces of the Kittner boy kind of floating around there,
floating around in there.
which is nice. So that's a good thing. Yeah. So tied to kind of movie related, Ghostbusters 30th anniversary, not the classic remake, but the original Ghostbusters 30th. Um, Glow in the dark white vinyl, super nice, super cool on there. So that was another good movie anniversary related idea. Um, Split Ends, and I guess so. It was True Colors was the album, and there were etchings in the vinyl that, as you kind of look down to it, they'd be kind of multicolored. You can see them. I'm not sure if you'd consider them holograms or not, but there was definitely imagery that was kind of showing up on the record that way, and it was a really kind of cool album. And I flirted with liking Split Ends for about 20 minutes at one point in time, but never got quite over the fence to buy. Oh, I almost bought it just because of this album. So, but that was another good one. Um, More props.
Yep. So I've done all kinds of releases, colored vinyl, gatefold, special packaging and stuff, but I brought some of my weirder ones to show as well. And not just me, this isn't just subtle plugging. But since you brought up etchings, my band, the Rust Belt, are self-titled albums available on cassette. And if you can see the way I'm moving it there, this is an opaque black case that was custom made. It is laser engraved with the band's logo on the front of it, as you can see as we turn that around there. So each one was individually engraved. There was a very small number of these made in Canada. And they're also on special tapes, which is a translucent, sort of semi opaque white. So, yeah, take that, Jack White.
There you go. Yep. I think almost by definition, every case would be individually etched. 'Cause and but yeah, limited number. That's the key thing there.
Very,
Um,
very limited number.
yeah, unfortunately, we're talking about it, in a post-tariff world, so there'll be two
Yeah,
thousand dollars.
right. And that's what's funny about it. A couple bands have reached out to me because actually, the manufacturer on their website uses us as an example for etching. This is the one that they use because nobody at that point had done it on an all black opaque case like that. It's usually just on the clear case. So they were actually not sure how this would turn out. I was like, I think it'll look cool. And they're like, you still have to pay for it, even if it doesn't. But so luckily it worked out. Everybody thought it was really cool and they use it on their website now. But they are in Canada, so cares.
Keep going.
Um, so to not talk about me for a second and to stick with tapes, this is the other cassette tape I have. This is a band called Dampier. This is their album Ocean Clots. It came to me. This is when I ran a radio station. This came to me. It's a blue velvet bag, as you can see, sort of like a bottle of Crown Royal. It has a Dampier pin on there. It's when you open it up, things start to get interesting now. Really, really interesting. And I'll show you everything that's in here. So, well, I guess one of the things I can't show you. If you can hear it though, the bag is filled, as you'd guess, with seashells. That's what it was packed in. It also came with a baggie of human teeth. This was an extremely limited package. Uh, it came with the album cassette as well. These are all individual baggies because it came with human teeth and seashells that would have destroyed this stuff. It also came with a bonus tape with extra songs on there and cards with artwork and lyrics and things on there. This is the most unique packaging of any release that I have, other than maybe Maggots from Nunslaughter, which came packaged with maggots, as, as the title suggests. Do you want to do another one or you want me to keep going, sir?
I'll throw out a couple. Like I said, I don't have the props, so I think we need to lean into you heavily on this one. But so on the video that we're sharing, there was a heart-shaped record, and which was pretty clever there. I can't believe you didn't mention. So Batman the animated series put out some of their music, but they put it out on one of the more gothic slash angry looking Batman type logos you'd ever see. It's one a lot of a super spiky bat logo for Batman, which is just perfect. You get the black vinyl and this really cool Batman thing, and I just thought it was outstanding. So I think that in terms, if you're going with a non-circular shape, can't go wrong with the bat signal.
Yeah, I know I have one or two oddly shaped vinyl, but really not too many. So the problem with that, of course, is when you cut that down, this might sound obvious, but when you cut it down, you're limiting how much material you can actually put on the record because there's not physically enough space for it. He also in that video he mentioned 3-inch CDs. Um, those weren't as rare as that video makes it sound. We had 3 inch. He mentions them being a Japanese thing, and while they were bigger there, 3-inch CDs were pretty common for a while for singles and EPs. The reason that they stopped doing them was because front loading CD players, particularly in cars and then game systems and things, started to become more and more prevalent. So where it grabs the disc and sucks it in, the 3-inch CD would get stuck, and then your stereo or car CD player was ruined. So it's that's why they went away. But they were there was a short period where that was a thing, particularly for singles. But and I even have music that was put out on 3-inch CD, so it wasn't even like that long ago that that was a thing. But I do have this 4-inch vinyl, um, which is not a common thing. Kelly, I believe you have one of these.
I do have one. See, that could have been a prop. Was an
Yeah,
opportunity
see that?
lost there.
So this, as you can tell, is a picture disc, but it's not a regular record. So this is a piece of glass that it was hand cut into with a World War II lathe that was used to make weapons during World War II. This is a piece of glass. The image was printed out and put in between the glass, and then the record was cut into the glass. And there's even an instruction page on how to properly play it on your turntable because it's not a regular record. This is one of three releases I've done where we had to include instructions. Hear that, Jack White? There's no instructions on your record. Just saying.
Yeah, the copy I get didn't come with instructions. So
Oh, really?
yeah, no
Kelly
instructions for
didn't
me.
get instructions.
I figured, I didn't need it. I figured it out. But yeah, and it yeah, no, and the last one, and we'll let you prop us out. But the last one that I'll mention, and here is not specific because I can't. I'm getting old and I can't remember these things anymore. But for a period of time, there were several serials that took it upon themselves to release things. Sometimes there would be a flat press inside the box, but other times on the exterior of the box, you would after you finish your cereal, you would cut out the CD, which no warpage possible there, folks. It's going to hold up like a rock. Um, and you could enjoy that if you could manage to poke the hole close enough to the center, or to do that so that you didn't get a major warble to it. But those were, and they take such great care, when shipping cereal boxes and stocking them that it was always of the highest quality. So so if I happen to come across a link or two on some of the cereal box music that was released, I'll include that in the descriptions, or maybe you're seeing some images. Who knows? We'll see.
Nice. So I've seen the cereal box ones like in collections and people posting them. I never saw one in person though, so but I am aware that that exists. And similar to Lazaretto, with it being on the label, it's the same idea with it being pressed into the actual cereal box. And then, of course, like Kelly was saying, sometimes I did have cereal that came with a flexi disc inside the actual box, similar to the McDonald's one. I could do a million props, but I wanted to finish up talking about my album Session, which Kelly is on. Some would say carried the album. We've released
Most
that
would say.
all. It's for my band Pagan. It's our most commercially successful record.
You're welcome.
It's Kelly, all
Yep.
Kelly. But it's been released physically on all kinds of media. I don't have one here I would show you, but in Korea it was released on a Kit album. That's their predominant physical music. It's basically like a custom printed USB drive, but it comes in a special box and it comes with trading cards with it as well. And it hit number 5 on the charts in Korea. And at that point, I think we are only like the fourth or fifth Western artist to get a kit release through their major label that they have there. So that was pretty cool. Kelly, again, basically carrying everything. He printed and the translucent shell for Session on Atari 2600 cartridge. Kelly printed that, got that label printed and everything, put it on the movie cart. That's how it plays. But this plays on a real Atari 2600. We also, of course, some would say naturally, released it on 8 track. And this is not like the 8 tracks that some bands, I'm not going to mention their names, Ghost, did by erasing old 8 tracks, recording over that, and it sounding absolutely terrible because they didn't think people would actually listen to it. This is a real 8 track. So we had to find somebody who had 8 track cassette molds to make the shells. They had to be made. We had to have plastic molds made. Then somebody had to go cut the tape from a reel to reel and record it in real time, 8 track, one at a time, to make each of these, and then hand load them into the shells we had to have molded. This took forever. It is the most expensive thing I've ever done. So, of course, we did it again on another album, too. But Session, again, is on almost everything, including 8 track. This also came with instructions because you have to tap on the back of the 8 track before you play it because it's hand wound, so it's tighter than the tape should be. So it explains how you have to tap on it to loosen up the spool in there. An 8 track, unlike a cassette, only has one wheel in there, and the tape is in there sort of like a figure eight, so it continuously plays with 2 channels on each side to give you stereo. That's why they call it 8 track, to give you the stereo mix for it. And the other one I want to include is our other one that included instructions, which is this version of Session, which is the craziest version of it. This looks like a CD. Pay attention, Jack White. This looks like a CD. And you play it in your CD player just like a CD. But then you flip it over, and I don't know if you can see that, but there's 2 different colors on the back. That is a vinyl record cut into the CD. Now, we were not the first ones to do this, but the guy that we had do it, the same guy who cut our glass record, he worked with the guy who invented this. There's only a handful of these that have been done successfully. So we reached out to the guy who invented this technique and we told him what song we wanted to do. And he told us it was impossible, that you were strictly stuck to a certain length, regardless of the space on the back of the disc to do this, that you couldn't go over a certain length, that he's tried. He's an expert engineer. He knows what he's doing. So I said, fuck that guy. We're going to beat this. I don't care how long it takes or what it costs because I make smart decisions. So months later, and hundreds of CDs thrown away, we came up with it the way that this works. And again, this actually has a lengthy instruction on the back of it explaining how to do this. So you flip the disc over, put this side up, and then you have to use our custom made record player adapter that is in the spine of the CD. Each of these had to be hand cut for for this. That's how we were getting to play so long on there, is because we have our own record adapter. So as I was complaining in the last video about how 45 adapters aren't that common anymore, you need a special custom adapter like this on a turntable.
I think that closes the show. What more
Jack
can be
White.
said? But yeah, don't forget, folks, there's the 2600 version is out there. Because that was fun to do. We've got a video on what movie cart's all about, which is pretty amazing. Atari 2600. I think kind of the start of when we really started to talk more about the 2600 was right around that time.
Yeah, it really was. It just happened to kind of dovetail with that.
There you go. Cool. Well, if whether you have props or not, if you got other suggestions or ideas or things you thought were pretty cool, I defy you to out weird Mike on his CD LP hybrid with its own adapter.
Hundreds and hundreds. And this is not a burn CD. We had these pressed because it wouldn't work right in a burn CD. You can do it on a burn CD, but you're not going to get this kind of playtime out of it. So we literally had a pressing plant making thousands of these, and we were throwing away hundreds of them every day. So much waste. Just so a very small number of people could have this super weird collector. You have one, right, Kelly?
No, I do not.
Oh, Kelly's going to have one of these soon.
And I have one of those. I've got. Send it with instructions, please.
Instructions are in the.
Okay. Well, it wasn't on the other one. So,
I
but,
do apologize. I don't know how it wasn't.
yeah, cool. All right. Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Subscribe to the Bog Panda YouTube channel. We'd appreciate it if you would do that. It wasn't an order. It's a request. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We would appreciate it. Leave a comment. Leave us a like. That stuff all helps out. The evil algorithm, all that good stuff. It's worth checking out our website. Link is in the description. It will take you to many other fine locations, including Bog Panda Vision, our home microbrew website, where you'll get the whole Slapdash series, mostly available on Game Boy, a sequel that's on Nintendo Entertainment System, a surprisingly frequently updated number of Doom levels have gone through. There's by the time this gets out, there'll be 5 levels for Doom 2 out there to for your enjoyment. So pull that down and enjoy that in Doom, and more and more to come. So there'll be plenty of that stuff out there. All that stuff's free. Enjoy that. What's not free is our merchandise, but it's well worth the investment. So check that out as well. So thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bog Panda.